G'day gang, and how's it going? Welcome to Jensen's Journey of Discovery.
What are you doing, your face, you funny looking On this series of Jensen's Journey of Discovery, I'm going to be making a hot cut hardy tool out of an old rusted hatchet. But Jensen, what is a hot cut hardy tool, you might be asking? Because let's face it, if you were competent at any of this, you wouldn't be watching my channel, unless you love torturing yourself. Well, to save time, I'm going to answer that in the description underneath that subscribe button, so make sure you hit it. But for now, let's dive into making this hot cut hardy out of the hatchet. So to start out, I'm going to cut off the metal rod attached to the hatchet head, and then we'll see what we're dealing with on the hatchet head itself. To do this, I'm using a thin metal cutting attachment on the grinder. This is a different type of attachment to the grinding that I'll be doing later, which is removing material. And there we go, the handle has been cut off. Now that the handle's been cut off, we can see that the hatchet head is actually hollow up that end. So I'm going to have to cut off the head above the hollow section. Because the steel is much thicker than the handle, this took a bit more time. I'm not sure it's because I have horrible technique or I'm supposed to be wearing gloves, but those sparks went right up my arm and made it feel very uncomfortable. I'm going to chuck some gloves on. PPE, people. PPE. As I started to say before, I was so rudely interrupted by those sparks. This is going to take some time. We also have to make sure that we don't do it in one slice. The steel is going to heat up, so let it cool down every now and then. If only I'd listened to voice over me. So we've finally cut through the hollow section, and we now have our axe head that we're going to turn into the hot cut hardy tool. So it's time to light the forge, and I hope you like tamarind because it's time to do some hammering. So you may have seen me use this forge for my heat treatment of my first knife. Check out the playlist, linked in the description. But to build this forge, I followed a video I'll link in the description, and I built it from a kit available from... I also had an enormous amount of help from my mate Alex, so thank you very much for doing the welding and helping me out with it. A mistake you'll see me make a few times in these earlier videos that I filmed quite a while ago is I don't cover the forge entry with the fire brick. This makes heating up take magnitudes longer. Ouch! Fuck! God damn it! Fuck this shit. So the amount of residual heat coming out of the front of the forge is fucking hot. Once again, I seem to have a problem with PPE. Come at me now, forge bro. So another thing to note is I only have one pair of tongs, and I have found that it is ludicrous trying to use the same pair of tongs for so many different use cases. Well, I mean that, and I'm just shit, but, you know, tools make a job easier. So I think I've got it hot enough to start hammering, so I'm going to pull it out. And would you fucking look at that dull red? That is not hot enough. I take a couple of swings until I realize I'm being a complete fucking numpty and put it back in where it belongs. Alright, maybe more than a few swings, but you can see I am doing sweet fuck all to that metal. In the end, blokes and Sheilas, that's what this channel is for you all to learn from my mistakes. And if you are learning anything, please subscribe, please like, please comment. I know YouTubers pester you all the time for it, but it makes an enormous difference to the success of a channel, and it'll mean that I can keep fucking up in front of you guys and making you laugh. So you'll see on my last pull out and on this one, you get that bright yellow or even the hot white. That's the right color. Now that I'm heating it to the right temperature before bringing out the hammer, you'll see that I'm moving a lot more metal and it's starting to take a shape. What are you doing, your face, you funny looking Much like the best video games, after a trial period, we've now upgraded to first person. So you'll notice here I'm holding it over the edge of the anvil. I'm using the edge to drift the metal, pushing it away and creating those ridges that are going to sit on the anvil with the shank in the hardy. Cheers for tuning into this episode of Jensen's Journey of Discovery. Smash that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next video.